How is it going? And thank you for tuning in to my first video of 2023. Today I'm here with my live review as well as my experience of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Battle in the Valley 2023. Without wasting any time, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now on my way to San Jose, I made sure to make a stop at FYE because there is not one locally to me, and there is one on the way to the Bay Area. So whenever I go to the Bay Area, I typically try to make a stop at FYE just to see what kind of stuff they have. And recently, they actually had an exclusive of theirs come out, which was this Dragon Ball Bulma Funko Pop right here. This thing is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it. This obviously is from the early days of Dragon Ball, and honestly it's probably the second best Bulma Pop, right behind the original Bulma Pop that came out from actually right there. She's right there, that one. So this is probably the second best one behind that one, in my opinion, of Bulma Pops. So yeah, this had nothing to do with Battle in the Valley, but I thought since, you know, I got on the way there, I'd go ahead and show it off. And preceding that, went into San Jose, was able to go right into the parking garage I was parking at and got right to the venue about 10 minutes after they opened doors. They opened doors at 5:30, so I was making great time all around. Went in without any issues whatsoever. They're pretty much just only scanning tickets, so it wasn't any real, obstacles or any issues getting into the venue. And of course, I went straight to the merch line because I figured it was probably going to take me like an hour to get to the merch, and that's essentially what happened because there's only one table, and the way it's at, it's like right in the middle where you walk in, and then it wraps around a wall and wraps around to the opposite side of the wall, and that's exactly where I ended up being in line at. And I didn't mind. I fully expected to be in the line and probably maybe perhaps miss the first match on the main show, so I was already mentally preparing myself for that. And it kind of sucked because they didn't put a merch lineup on their website like they normally do before the show, and they didn't have a flyer of all the merch they had at the table, so you essentially didn't know what they had there until you got at the booth. So it kind of sucked not knowing what they had, but I pretty much already had the one thing in mind I wanted to get anyways, and it was the one thing I ended up getting anyway. So after about an hour in line, I finally was able to go up to the table. Only got one thing, which actually there's two things in this bag I did not know they included in here until like right before I started filming this video when I was looking in the bag. But in the bag as well, this 50-year anniversary logo magnet right here. And the second thing in the bag, which I actually kind of marked out for because I wasn't expecting it whatsoever, it is an Okada buck right here. Even though I'm not saying it's a buck, it says 100,000 on there, so I don't know why I call it buck, but yes, Okada dollar, buck, whatever, bill, whatever you want to call it, right there. That was a nice little surprise, so I wasn't expecting that. So I thought it was a cool little thing that they threw in the bag. And if anyone's been watching my channel for a while now, or ever watched any of my prior live review or experience videos, you know that at events I usually typically get at least one main thing, and that is the one item I did get at the show, which was the event shirt right there. As you guys can see, the Battle in the Valley logo, which I actually went to the last Battle in the Valley as well, and I thought it was gonna be the same old shirt. I mean, it technically is with the logo, but I do think it might be slightly different. I think like with the gray markings on like some of the letters that you can see right there, whatnot. I'm not sure if the first shirt had that. It may have. I'm not entirely sure, but at least I'd make this somewhat different than the previous one. But same old, same old. New Japan always has the same basic event shirts, and of course here's the back right there with all the logos of New Japan, Battle of the Valley, as well as the IWGP, the date, the city, as well as the venue on the back as well. I always love New Japan's event shirts. They're very, very basic and very simple, but they look very, very nice, and they look very clean. So always like getting the New Japan shirts. Like I said, they always look very nice and clean, and that was the one main thing I did get at the show. However, while I was waiting in line, they did have the pre-show happening in the main room, which of course had two matches. We had Alex Coughlin taking on J.R. Kratos, which from what I read, Alex Coughlin got the victory over him. And then we had David Finlay taking on Bobby Fish, which from what I read, David Finlay got the win over Bobby Fish. So didn't see either of those matches, and not that I cared, to be perfectly honest, but I just thought I'd go ahead and mention those since they did happen on the show, but I was just in line while that was happening. And if I wasn't making great time already, as soon as I got my merch and went straight to my seat, it literally was 7 o'clock. It was supposed to be right when the show started. I was like, all right, my timing couldn't be any better. I got the merch, I got, concessions. I was perfect, ready to go, ready for the show to start. And there's a delay. I'm sitting there waiting, and check my phone. I realize it's like 7:05. I'm like, nothing's even happening. Eventually, make the announcement that due to technical issues, the show is being not postponed, but just, it's being held off for the time being until they solve it. So I'm thinking, of course, the one time I have perfect timing at a show, they delay it. So it is what it is. Can't do much about it. Obviously, it was tech issues on their end for the Fight TV stream, but in my mind, I'm like, man, fuck Fight TV. Let's have the action start now, and then you can refund people that bought it. I don't care. Of course, that's me being selfish and not caring just want the show to start, but I was just like, oh, come on. And Like every like 10 minutes they made an announcement. We apologize for the delay. Should be starting soon. Should be starting soon, you know. So 40 minutes later, the show eventually started. But in that 40 minutes, as I'm sitting there, right, just, you know, checking my phone because Elimination Chamber is going on at the same time. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn was happening at the time. Just checking my phone, see what's happening. I noticed people like in my section get up and like start looking at the upper section above me. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on? Is there a fight or something? And then people start chanting, "Go away, go away." And I'm like, someone must be like really hated up there, like some drunk fan already or what. But I don't know. I didn't care to look at the time. And as I'm checking my phone, all of a sudden I see a tweet that says CM Punk is at Battle in the Valley tonight. And I'm like, okay. And then about 10 minutes later, I hear like chatter around me like, shit, CM Punk's up there. That's what everyone's looking at. I'm like, no fucking way. And I'm looking at my phone and I start looking through tweets and I see people tweeting pictures of Punk of the section literally right above me. I mean, he was over a little more to the right to where I was sitting at, but literally right up the section above me he was sitting at. And it was almost like an impromptu meet and greet almost, where people are running out taking pictures of him. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting him to be here. He was there with Lars. And I just thought it was very, very out of the blue for him to be there. And of course, I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. You know, I've talked a lot of shit about CM Punk, but obviously, if you follow my channel for a very long time, the original channel name of this, you know, of my channel is WWE Punk Fan 19, after him. So even though I've talked a lot of shit about him over the years, and I still stand by a lot of what I say, I can't help but have like the inner mark in me and think like, you know what? I should go up there and ask him for a picture. And I shit you not, I was debating it. And by the time I finally thought to myself, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go up there and do it. Literally, I was about to get up in my seat and then the lights go off because the show's starting. So I took that as a sign not to do it. So obviously I didn't do it. But yeah, I just thought it was pretty funny that CM Punk was literally the section above me, over up to a little bit. And he wasn't the only person that was there. Another person that was there was Bayley, which I actually... At the time, I didn't know it was her, but during the show, I saw two people walk by in like money onesies, and I was like, "Oh wow, they're huge Sasha fans." It comes out, you know, Bayley that was one of those people in the money onesie suits, and she actually sat right off to the right of me at the very end of the section of the wall. So she was, you know, right by me essentially. I just didn't know it because I wasn't paying attention and didn't hear anyone talk about it. Because that was all the stuff that happened before the show. I just thought I'd share some of it. You know, Bayley stuff. Then I didn't see Bayley till later on in the show, but I just thought I'd go ahead and mention that now. But yeah, after 40 minutes of delay, the show finally started. We have an opening video package, which I thought was great. Very much hyped me up, especially for the last two matches. I was very excited for those two ones. And after all the waiting, we finally opened the show with an 8-man tag team match with teams being captained by Josh Alexander as well as Kushida. I thought it was a fun opening match here. Not much to it. Josh Alexander and Kushida had some great grappling at the very beginning of it. Pretty much at some point, everyone got time to shine. You know, you had Volador Jr. and Mascara Dorada going at it. Adrian Quest as well as Kevin Knight going at it, and the DKC, him and Rocky Romero went at it for a good little portion of the match as well. So everyone had the time to shine. Everyone got their spots in. Everyone looked good for the most part. I thought it was a fun, enjoyable match, especially towards the ending. Kushida was able to hold up Adrian Quest while Kevin Knight gave him a beautiful drop kick. Following that, hit him with a spike DDT while Kushida had Josh Alexander in an armbar. So Kevin Knight got the win for his team after he pinned Adrian Quest. Like I said, fun opening match, not much to it, but everyone got their stuff in, and it was enjoyable for what it was. And then after the match, Volador Jr. cut a promo on Rocky Romero, because obviously they're feuding for the, I forgot exactly the championships called in CMLL, but they're feuding for the championship, so they're continuing their feud. Didn't understand a word Volador Jr. said, but yeah, continued what they were doing. And following that match, we had the strong Openweight Championship being defended. Fred Rosser defending against KENTA. Very slow start to the match. KENTA pretty much didn't want anything to do with Rosser, and then once, you know, Rosser finally got to him, KENTA was just hitting him with every hard, stiff shot he possibly could. Then, you know, Rosser finally went to the outside. He actually went to the crowd right, you know, in front of me. It was like challenging KENTA to come fight him. KENTA went in the crowd. They started brawling into the crowd. Eventually back into the ring, where KENTA just started beating the holy shit out of Fred Rosser. Some stiff kicks. You know KENTA has always been known for strong style, but honestly, I don't mean to say this to sound rude or anything, but I'm pretty sure his strong style days are behind him. I think his comedy stuff gets over more than his actual strong style stuff. So even though he used to be one of the most hard-hitting guys ever to step foot in the ring, you can definitely tell he's not, you know, what he used to be. And that's not a knock on KENTA. I'm just saying I think his comedy stick definitely works better for him currently than his strong style stuff does. So but yeah, he was definitely laying his kicks in. And there was one very, very stiff drop kick in the corner he gave where I thought he just absolutely knocked Rosser's head off. But Rosser had his comeback, did a whole bunch of just ass attacks where he just kept bumping and jumping and landing on top of Kenta. So I don't know what was going on with that, but Roster just kept spamming that move for a reason. Had to come back, had some good back and forth with Kenta to the point where there was a ref bump. Referee got knocked down, and during that, Roster had Kenta in the crossface chicken wing. And as that was happening, out of nowhere, Juice Robinson comes out to distract and hit Roster, which leads Kenta to lift him up into the GTS. Hits the GTS. 1, 2, 3. Kenta is your brand new strong openweight champion. Overall, very solid match. I thought it was pretty good. Enjoyed it. Kenta did a lot of different maneuvers that are just destroying Roster. Ended up hitting a coup de grace at one point as well. Just very stiff stuff from Kenta. And Roster was absolutely enduring it, so I got to give Roster some props. But yeah, very unexpected to see Juice Robinson. I know he's part of Bullet Club, but I thought he left New Japan for a reason to go to AEW. I know he's in AEW, and AEW obviously has a partnership with New Japan, so it's not like it's off the table for him to be there, but I just wasn't expecting him to be there whatsoever and be helping Kenta win as well, because I don't see how you do Roster and Juice in the future. It just seems very, very random, but yeah, Kenta, your brand new strong openweight champion. Like I said, pretty good match, solid stuff, and yeah, that was just too sweet. In keeping up with these strong championships, we had these strong openweight tag team champions being defended. The Motor City Machine Guns taking on the West Coast Wrecking Crew. One thing I was very excited about this match was for the fact that I've been watching the Motor City Machine Guns perform for the last 15 years, and I've never seen them perform live before, and this was the first time for me to see them live. So for that fact alone, that made me excited for this match, and I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable. Right from the get-go, the West Coast Wrecking Crew attacked Motor City Machine Guns, isolating Alex Shelley from Chris Sabin, just working over Shelley. And I will say this, I have never, well, I can't say never because I saw them team technically with when they were part of Team Filthy in a 10-man tag at the last Battle of Valley. Saw West Coast Wrecking Crew perform, but I've never seen them in a tag team environment. And to see those two guys team, I'm not gonna lie, they impressed the hell out of me. I thought they were very enjoyable. I thought their tag work was great. They definitely are a tag team I'd like to see more of in the future. So Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson, I think they were great, and like I said, definitely like to see more of them. One spot that really impressed me was they both had Shelley and Sabin in a deadlift German suplex, but Royce Isaac, I believe he had Chris Sabin. He freaking just did an entire lap around the entire ring by holding him up in a deadlift German suplex. Ended up giving him the suplex onto the apron at the very end once he did a full circle. I just thought it was very impressive on his behalf. While Nelson had Alex Shelley up in a deadlift the entire time as well. So yeah, very impressed with those two guys. Thought their tag team work was fantastic. Love to see more of them, like I said. Towards the match though, Shelley ended up getting the hot tag to Sabin, ended up working on both men, ended up doing a dive on the outside, and towards the end of it, they ended up wrapping it up when Motor City Machine Guns ended up hitting the Dirt Bomb to get the 1, 2, 3 to retain the strong openweight tag team titles. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't a fantastic match by any means, but I definitely thought it was a great showcase for the West Coast Wrecking Crew, and which was an enjoyable match. Then after that match, we had the Loser Leaves New Japan Pro Wrestling match. Jay White taking on Eddie Kingston. And this match was fantastic. I thought it was great. I loved it. These two were just chopping the shit out of each other the entire time, and I thought it was fantastic. Of course, right from the get-go, Jay White wants nothing to do with Eddie Kingston. He's running from him. Kingston's chasing him around at the point where Jay White outsmarts him, cuts him off, starts beating on him for a good little while until Eddie Kingston has comebacks, starts chopping him like no tomorrow, chopping him in the chest, chopping him in the back. He's laying his chops in, and they are loud as hell. But you know what? Jay White, he ain't backing down. He's laying his chops in as well. But to be perfectly honest, out of the two of them, you can definitely tell Eddie Kingston was laying his stuff in a lot more harder than Jay White was. And that's not disregard Jay White. It's probably because he was winded from taking Kingston's chops, so he couldn't lay in all the power he probably could. But yeah, I love this match. I thought it was great. Second favorite match off the show, honestly. Just tremendous stuff from both men. I thought it was very enjoyable. At one point, Jay White was able to hit the blade runner on Eddie Kingston, but Kingston, being a smart man, ended up rolling out of the ring and was not able to get pinned because he rolled out of the ring. So that was great stuff. Just great back and forth. Towards the end, Eddie Kingston was just beating the shit out of Jay White. Jay White was pretty much done, and Eddie Kingston ended up hitting him with the Northern Lights bomb. 1, 2, and at the very end, 2.9, Jay White kicks out. Everyone's disbelief. Eddie Kingston's getting his props, so he's like, you know what? I'll just do it again. Hits one more, and 1, 2, 3. Eddie Kingston defeats Jay White. Jay White is now gone from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He lost his Loser Leaves Japan match with Hikulelu, and now he lost his NJPW Loser Leaves match against Eddie Kingston. So he's officially gone. I know the reports are saying that it's obviously either AEW or WWE. if he was going to AEW, I don't think he would have done this match because obviously, like I said earlier, AEW has a working relationship with New Japan, so he would have been able to do shows still if he went to AEW. So I think him going to WWE is more likely, and I think he's just going to be an absolute star because he already is a star, and I think this is a bigger stage for him to showcase his abilities. So yeah, great way for Jay White to go out, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And of course, he grabs a mic. Looks like he's going to cut a promo to, you know, thank everybody and say his goodbyes to New Japan. But before he can, he gets hit in the back of the head with a shillelagh by David Finlay. I didn't care. No one gave a fuck about David Finlay. Everyone was telling him, shut the fuck up, fuck you. His promo, it wasn't a very long promo, but it seemed like he went on for fucking forever. It seemed like he had like a 15-minute promo, even though in real time it was probably like 5 to 7 minutes. But yeah, it seemed like it just dragged on, and he just cut your basic promo where it's like, I'm going to take over. I'm tired of waiting for my turn. I'm going to take his spot now. That's essentially all he did. Now he's going to be the most dangerous man and most savage man in New Japan Pro Wrestling now, so whatever. I'm not denying David Finlay's abilities. I don't think he's bad or anything. But I just don't really care for him. So maybe, you know, this could be a start of a new David Finlay that I might enjoy. Who knows? I doubt it, but yeah, just didn't really care for the promo and yeah, whatever. And preceding the exit of Jay White, we had the Filthy Rules fight between Tom Lawlor and Homicide. Of course, no disqualification, no ring ropes. The match was just in the ring with nothing surrounding it. I thought it was good. Went a little too long if you ask me. I thought they could have trimmed it down by like 5 minutes or so. So it did get to that point where it did feel like it was kind of just dragging. But nonetheless, it was a good solid match. I thought they used a good amount of weapons. They used chairs. They used ladders. At one point, Tom Lawlor used like the little extension for the ring, the hold the ropes to enlarge into Homicide's face, you know, scrape it across that. So a good amount of stuff was used. At one point, a door was leaned against the barricade, and Homicide gave Tom Lawlor a DVD through it. That was obviously the spot of the match, if you ask me, but that was fantastic. Back in the ring, though, back and forth, you know, Homicide attempting the cop killer, Lawlor getting out of it, trying to beat down Homicide, you know, penalty kicks and whatnot. They're just trying to get each other down for, you know, 3 count or whatever they can get. But Tom Lawlor ends up getting Homicide down, sets up a ladder, goes up the ladder, hits a huge diving headbutt off that ladder on Homicide, but Homicide kicks out at 2. And preceding that, Tom Lawlor locks in a rear naked choke, at which point the referee calls off the match because Homicide passes out. So Tom Lawlor gets the win over Homicide in the Filthy Rules fight. Overall, like I said, it was good. They used a good amount of weapons. It wasn't a brutal match or anything like that, but I thought it was fun for what it was. Like I said, the only thing I would have changed was I would have made it a little bit shorter because it did, like I said, feel like it dragged on at one point, but nonetheless, it was an enjoyable match. After that, we had Zack Sabre Jr. defending the New Japan World Television Championship against Clark Connors. Of course, this has a 15-minute time limit, and this match was very good. I thought it was a very good technical wrestling match. Zack Sabre Jr. just toying around Clark Connors. That was great. But then, you know, Clark Connors learning throughout the match where everything he was doing wasn't working. He was finally able to outmaneuver, you know, Zack Sabre Jr. in some spots, able to hit, you know, the spear, get some moments of opportunity against Zack Sabre Jr. I thought was building towards a pretty good story overall. So I thought it was a fun, enjoyable match. Towards that last 5 minutes, that's when the match really started picking up. Clark Connors started getting a whole lot of momentum against Zack Sabre Jr. Got some great near falls, you know, was able to avoid, you know, Zack Sabre Jr.'s pinning predicaments and whatnot, and get out of some submissions as well. So yeah, a lot of good stuff towards the end, especially the last few minutes. And right as the ring announcer says 1 minute remaining, Zack Sabre Jr. locks in the arm breaker on Clark Connors, and Clark Connors essentially immediately taps out to Zack Sabre Jr. So Zack Sabre Jr. retains, and which I said was a really good match. Really enjoyed it with Clark Connors. And then afterwards, as Zack Sabre Jr. was walking up the ramp, Kevin Knight was standing there. So I guess Kevin Knight and Zack Sabre Jr. will be a potential world TV title match. Don't really know how I feel about it because I haven't really seen much of Kevin Knight outside of the first match. I think that's actually the first time I've seen Kevin Knight perform ever. So I haven't really seen anything, so I can't really say whether I'd like to see a match between him and Zack Sabre Jr. or not, but looks like he's going to be the next one in line for that title, at least at, you know, an upcoming US show potentially. So yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. retains. Like I said, really good match. And then we get to the match that brought everyone to the show. The match that sold the show out itself within, what, 3-4 days? The IWGP Women's Championship. KAIRI defending against Mercedes Monè, making her in-ring debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Everyone was hyped about it. She by far got the biggest pop of the night. Everyone just erupted when she came out. So yeah, very, very excited to have seen her. Wasn't expecting it. When I bought my tickets, honestly, when I bought my tickets when they went on sale initially, I did not expect a stacked show. But I'm very, very thankful for New Japan for doing that. So thank you, New Japan, for giving me Mercedes Monet's first New Japan match and first post-WWE match as well. So very thankful to have the opportunity. And the match itself, I thought was fantastic. In my opinion, match of the night, I thought KAIRI and Mercedes absolutely tore the house down. Love Mercedes tribute gear, by the way. I thought that was a great tribute to Hana Kimura. So I thought that was, you know, very much respect to Mercedes doing that. But yeah, great back and forth stuff from KAIRI is Mercedes. Right from the beginning, they're kind of filling each other out, but then Mercedes started hitting her signature stuff in. At one point, she ended up hitting the three amigos, but then KAIRI was kind of hitting her own side of it. Just great back and forth and some bantering between both of them as well. At one point, the referee gets knocked out with KAIRI going for the compass hit and ends up elbowing the shit out of or not, was it elbow or back fist? I don't remember exactly what it was. But she doesn't pin the referee. Referee's out. They end up brawling into the outside. They go up into the stage area where KAIRI hits a power bomb on Mercedes Monè through a table off. Well, not off the stage, but you know, like Mercedes was standing on the stage and she took her and just, you know, flipped her off the stage through a table on the outside. Fantastic bump right there. I thought Mercedes looked like a champ taking it. Back in the ring, you know, Mercedes hits a frog splash or tries to hit a frog splash, but KAIRI gets her knees up. KAIRI goes for the insane elbow, but Mercedes was able to get out of the way. And then towards the end of it, Mercedes ends up hitting the Monè maker for the 1, 2, 3 and become the brand new IWGP Women's Champion. Like I said, fantastic stuff. This match actually had the most time as well. This actually almost went 30 minutes. I think, you know, it was like 26, 27 minutes it got more time than the main event, which I was surprised by, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, both women went out there and absolutely tore the house down. I thought Mercedes Monè, she has not missed a step. If anything, she actually looks better than ever. I know the infamous thing about her is that, you know, she botches all the time and botches everything, but I thought she looked pretty fantastic here. Not saying that she was flawless in this match, but I thought she looked like she definitely belonged with the absolute best in the wrestling industry. So Mercedes Monè wins the IWGP Women's Championship. Like I said, I thought it was match of the night. Thought it was a great performance by both women. And yeah, Mercedes Monè is here to lead the New Japan, or I should say Stardom women's division, because, you know, New Japan doesn't have their women's division. Their Stardom essentially is their women's division. So yeah, very excited what the future holds for Mercedes Monè. And like I said, fantastic debut match and very excited for it to be there for a title win. And then we proceed to the second part of our double main event, because I forgot to mention for the women's title match that title match and the world title match were both double main events. So that was the first part. This is the second part. Of course, it was for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Kazuchika Okada taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi. I was so honored to see this legendary rivalry happen in front of my eyes. You know, I never thought I'd see this match in person, and to see them have their second ever match, potentially last ever too, but to see their second match happen in the United States. Obviously, they had their match in the G1 in Dallas a couple years ago, part of the G1 tournament. But to see them have their second match, especially for the world title of all things, in the main event, was such an honor. So very, very happy to be able to see such an amazing, iconic rivalry renewed right in front of my eyes. So yeah, very, very excited to see the match. And overall, the match itself, I thought was very good. It wasn't an Okada-Tanahashi classic by any means, but, you know, I got to see their hits. I got to see their main stuff, and that's all I could really much ask for, to be perfectly honest. So I thought Okada-Tanahashi was a very good main event. Right from the get-go, you know, Okada was dominant over Tanahashi. I almost went for the Rainmaker almost within minutes of the match, but Tanahashi was able to fight out of it. They went to the outside where Okada was, you know, more dominated on Tanahashi. In my opinion, I don't know what it was, but I kind of felt as well that Okada seemed kind of off. He seemed like some of his stuff, I don't want to say it was sloppy, but I don't know if it was just the character, because obviously he was building towards that match in Pro Wrestling Noah. I forgot his name, but they actually just had the show, I think today or yesterday, against the GHC heavyweight champion. I forgot what his name is, I apologize, but I don't know if that was supposed to be part of his character. It kind of seemed like he was off, but I don't know, some of his stuff just didn't seem as good. Like, he did an elbow drop at one point at the top, and it just seemed super sloppy and shitty, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know, that could have just been me, but Okada kind of seemed off in my opinion against Tanahashi. But yeah, I still thought it was good stuff. Tanahashi at the high five flow into the outside. was going for like several times against Okada in the ring, but Okada was able to get out of it or put his knees up. A lot of great transitions and counters with Tanahashi countering the Rainmaker into the Sling Blade, or Tanahashi going for the high fly flow and Okada hitting the drop kick instead. A lot of great stuff from both men. I thought it was a very fun main event, and towards the end I actually wasn't expecting the finish to be what it was. I thought the match would be going a little bit longer, but out of nowhere Okada gets the upper hand on Tanahashi and is able to hit the Rainmaker for the 1-2-3. So Okada retains the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said, I was just more happy for the fact that I could see this match live more than anything, and the quality of it honestly was just extra, and I still thought it was really good. Like I said, not an Okada Tanahashi classic by any means, but I still thought it was a really good match to close, which I thought was a great show. I'll be perfectly honest, about a minute after the match ended, I just left because I figured it would just be Okada, celebrating maybe like a Tanahashi handshake, and that'd be it. So I left immediately, pretty much following. But apparently, after the match, Okada cut a promo, which led to Mercedes and Monè coming out, and they pretty much posed in the ring, and that's pretty much it. So I missed that, didn't see any of it, which, it would have been cool to see them in the ring together, but I didn't miss anything like legendary, so I'm okay with missing it. Like I said, it wasn't a must-see moment, but like I said, it would have been cool to see those two in the ring together at the same time. But it is what it is. Left with that because honestly, I was tired. I didn't want to sit there any longer than I had to be honest. The show was already 4 minutes late. The show was pushing midnight, when it ended, and I still had a 2-hour drive ahead of me. So at that point, I just wanted to go home, and that's why I left. Because typically, I do sit and wait till it's pretty much like, okay, the ring's empty, I can clear out. So it was a rare move of me to make, and of course, again, like, nothing was lining up to me. It's one time I get to my seat pretty much perfectly on time as soon as the show starts, and it doesn't start on time. And then of course I leave. The one time I want to leave as soon as the show or the match is over, they do a post-match thing. So it is what it is. Like I said, it wasn't anything important, but it's just my luck. That's all, essentially. But yeah, overall, I thought Battle in the Valley was a great show. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a very, very enjoyable show. Wish it would have started on time, but it's what it is. Still had a great time. Match tonight, like I said, to me was Mercedes Monè and KAIRI. I thought those two went out there and tore the house down, stole the show, and definitely showed everybody the reason why they were the match that sold that place out. But yeah, I would say the Jay White Eddie Kingston match is the second right after that, and then I'd probably put the Okada Tanahashi at third in terms of my top 3 matches in the show. But yeah, very enjoyable show from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Had a hell of a time. I have a hell of a time coming up as well, because if you guys do not know, I have a ton of wrestling trips coming up. I have AEW coming up next week, actually, and then I have WrestleMania coming up as well. I have a ton of events coming up, so I have some more videos covering those coming out, so definitely stay tuned to see those whenever I get those out, once I attend those events, obviously. But yeah, hope you get the video. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like below. Of course, till then, I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys for watching the video.